With communications down, no one knows what the situation is.
A lone figure emerges. Clutching an assault rifle, starts shooting those in the water.
Run, run.
Weak but alive, this man is pulled free from the wreckage.
Among the victims, an entire class of students from the one school.
Captain is heard frantically pounding on the door.
And as we witnessed this past week, so many who set out on the dangerous journey just don't make it.
I have killed some of the most beautifulest people that I know.
The victims were worshipping at a black church in America's South.
And our hearts go out.
The senseless killings were broadcast on breakfast television in America.
A day like any other, but on this morning, a gunman was stalking.
Ball bearings, possibly packed with the explosive as shrapnel.
Just over a day to live.
Executions are imminent.
It was transferred early this morning.
I wish they killed me first.
But something went horribly wrong.
Nepal is a country in trauma. Almost every pile of rubble is now a grave.
The whole city of Kathmandu is now just waiting for that sense of fear to settle.
The world's highest mountain left 18 confirmed dead.
People wore T-shirts saying, "Checkpoint, Charlie Hebdo."
Still no answers for the families of Jenny and Raymond Kellett.
Would love to have my mother return to me.
His little brother Nicholas, just 15, both killed in the same Holden Commodore.
It's unlikely anyone could survive that long.
We're just hoping, by the grace of the Lord, that they've made it to the island.
Run over and killed when a car crashed into an empty safety barrier at the race in Donnelly River.
We see the dark, evil side of human nature.
Just because her car is here does not mean that she went into the ocean.
He also developed a reputation as a colourful and outspoken MP.
Loved and respected local politician.
Test batsman died when he was struck in the side of the head by a cricket ball in November.
No club songs, no banners, just silence.
You know, whether you're a player, coach, fan, father, mother, just talk to people.
Our next award is for Best Science and Environment Report. Please welcome MEAA, I'm really struggling with that tonight. MEAAWA Media Branch President, Martin Turner. To present this award.
And the winner is Victoria Laurie, the Australian, the future of our rangelands.
Victoria Laurie highlighted an issue that impacts on vast areas of Australia and that few readers may have been aware of. Laurie managed to engage the reader in a complex issue with clear writing and analysis. The report highlighted successive governments' failure to adapt public policy to changing environmental conditions.
All right, and now to the award for Best Social Equity Report.
The winner is Paige Taylor, Victoria Laurie again.
Taylor, Laurie and Burrell's investigation of Western Australia's youth suicide problem helped focus much needed government attention at the extent of a deeply sad social issue. Their ability to gain persistent trust from a heartbroken community and to tell compelling personal stories relating to an issue so sensitive within Aboriginal culture demonstrated journalism at its best.
Well, congratulations. We're only halfway through the evening and 3 awards already.
Yes, it's a bit of a surprise. We actually went up to the Kimberley, and in a space of less than 18 hours, my photographer colleague Colin Murty and I flew up to Broome, drove to Derby, got in a very small helicopter, drove out to Freshwater Cove, walked for half an hour into a cave. Colin got the most wonderful picture of an Aboriginal rock art painting of a whirlpool, a very unusual picture, and that encapsulates the kind of heritage and a heritage site that in theory could be dropped off the heritage list, and that's why it's important.
The winner is Neil Pryor and Nick Evans from the West Australian Rising Star Blurred Lines. I hate those blurred lines.
Classic reporting on a politician with a conflict of interest and a failure to disclose it. The scoops demonstrated strong research. Some regarded the reporter's work as a vendetta, but it was fair and accurate reporting on someone with their hands on the levers of government and power.
And the winner is, Michael Thompson, 9 News Perth, WA football crisis.
Key age group feeding into the WAFL and AFL ranks is deserting football at an alarming rate.
Michael Thompson's special report on WA football revealed an alarming drop-off in player numbers in the 16 and 17-year-old age bracket, showing how the pressures of school and other activities were combining to threaten the future of the game in this state. At a time when both of WA's AFL teams are flying high, Thompson's report discussed the impact that the WA Football Commission's funding cuts had on players' development and included a plea from West Coast Eagles chief Trevor Nisbet for the problem to be tackled before the situation became dire.
And the winner is Grant Wynn, 7 News Perth for the Carlisle Siege. There he is. Thanks, mate.
While the police commissioner was saying this,
and they took action as they've been trained to take.
The officers were under arrest.
While all Perth news outlets comprehensively reported the fatal Carlisle siege, it was Grant Wynn's reporting 2 days later which would lead to policy change and reform within WA Police. Grant Wynn exclusively revealed on 7 News the 4 police officers involved were arrested and detained, with one officer not allowed to wash the blood off his hands for several hours. The story sparked public outrage and prompted scathing comments by Premier Colin Barnett.
Well, the second report that I entered was exclusive revelations about the police officers who were forced to shoot the hostage taker to save the hostage's life, ended up being arrested by their own colleagues, other police officers, and they were detained. In fact, one of the officers wasn't able to wash the blood off his hands for about 3 hours while police investigated it. I remember the Premier, Colin Barnett, coming out the next day and saying it was outrageous and that would never happen again in Western Australia. And I guess the pleasing thing about my work is that it's led to major reform within WA Police and how they treat police shootings. And one of those police officers that actually had to make that decision to shoot the hostage taker to save the hostage's life came up to me and said, "Thank you very much for your responsible reporting." You know, it was very much appreciated. That, to me, is pretty much vindication about why we do this job, and reward enough for me.
All right, moving to print text, we start with Best Feature Writing, sponsored by Levan Legal. Joining us on stage is Senior Associate Little Hymans, please.
And the winner is Billy Rule from the Sunday Times / Perth Now, When Lizzie Died.
Long after the death knocks had stopped falling, Billy Rule's feature on the death of up-and-coming hockey star Lizzie Watkins brings a rare and powerful account of uncharted territory outside of the daily news cycle. Beautifully written in this age of clickbait and churn, Billy's story took more than 400,000 online readers on a journey into the shattered worlds of the Watkins family and young hockey player Ashlyn, whose own life fell apart after the ball she struck took Lizzie's. The accumulation of difficult interviews, mature storytelling and raw rattling of the keyboard, Billy's offering is a memorable story that stays with readers long after they've dried their eyes.
Congratulations. Now time for the Best Print / Text News Report, sponsored by the West Australian. We're joined again by Torrance Mendez to present this award.
And the winner is Nick Evans and Neil Pryor, the West Australian, Dean Nalder's Disclosure Crisis.
With no more than a small tip-off, the West Australians Nick Evans and Neil Pryor set out on a classic forensic investigation, the kind of digging, sniffing out and double-checking that can sometimes uncover gold. Their focus was State Government Minister Dean Nalder, once touted as a future Premier with a blue-chip business background. And the doggedly determined pair struck their pay dirt in uncovering private business affairs and ethical breaches that caused the Premier to launch his own investigation, Nalder to lose the finance portfolio, and put any future leadership aspirations on ice. Great news reporting, well developed into a feature piece that added colour and context.
The Arthur Lubkin Prize for Excellence in Journalism is arguably the oldest prize in Australia. It's something I'm going to have to check when I hit the archives next week. Joining a very eminent group of journalists, including a former Governor-General Paul Hasluck, receiving the award is
Bear with me. Paige Taylor and Natasha Robinson, The Weekend Australian, The Long, Slow Undoing of Captain Dragan.
Congratulations on the award. The story that you were involved in was a very important one. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
The story was a very tragic one. It was the issue was Aboriginal youth suicide, which we all know is way too high, and we focused on a couple of very stark examples, including the death of an 11-year-old boy called Peter Little, and his life seemed to encapsulate so many of the issues that trouble young people who take that tragic decision.
And obviously this is in a remote region?
Actually, Peter was from Geraldton, which is only 400 kilometres north of Perth, but the series did include a lot of stories about the far north and the wheat belt. It was an issue that crossed all geographical boundaries, we found.
And had you done anything like that before?
We have reported on Indigenous suicide. It's been an issue for such a long time, but I've never encountered a story that involves such a young person.
Okay, tonight's final award, West Australian Journalist of the Year Daily News Centenary Prize for 2015, where our panel of judges recognise West Australia Media's best work for 2015. The award, proudly sponsored by Curtin University, will be presented by Associate Professor Dr. Joseph Fernandez.
And the winner is Jonathan Barrett, Australian Financial Review.
Thank you. I'll be quick. That was most unexpected. To the MCs first, they gave a terrific kind of roundup of the media and gave us all a hard time. To James, just in case you didn't know, I work at the Fin Review. It's kind of like the Quokka, but for smart people. That's one back for all of us who took one out there. Look, I was totally unprepared for this. I want to reiterate what Paige said and such a deserving winner too. What else, could we do? There are other professions that aren't contracting. There are other professions with more money sloshing around. But I've always just thought the privilege of being able to tell the news, find the news, dig it up, and put that out to consumers is an absolute privilege.
Congratulations, the final winner of the evening.
Thank you. It's quite the surprise.
And you had to do a speech as well?
That's right, and I became a journalist for a newspaper, the Australian Financial Review, so I wouldn't have to make public speeches. But so they caught me by surprise.
And tell me a little bit about your award, Jonathan.
I think it was primarily around work I had done on the mining empire of Andrew Forrest, and it was concerned with how he got hold of his mineral tenements, and also, I guess, how he stops rivals from accessing his pastoral station in the Pilbara. So it was really investigative work. I had a lot of help from colleagues in Sydney, putting together packages that I guess showed this very complex issue in a way that was accessible to readers.
And you were caught by surprise?
Yeah.
That's what you said anyway.
No, absolutely. I guess a lot of my writing is quite technical, but I guess I just work off the philosophy that we need to hold the powerful and wealthy to account, and so I guess I've made a bit of a career at looking into their empires and trying to explain to people how exactly they are doing that. And I guess the other thing is I believe kind of information is power, so try and disperse people who hold information to themselves and try and really relay that to our readers.
So you can sniff them out?
Yeah, it takes a lot of legwork, but we have a terrific little bureau in Perth. We got 3 journalists at the Fin Review, and I think we hit pretty hard.
Well, that's all we have for Perth City Talks. I'm Nadia Hunter. See you next time.
Struggling to make things right.